It's that time of year again where many IEMs get announced and released, and in today's video we have a few interesting ones to cover from brands like Ziigaat, DA Audio, Dunu, and more. Let's jump into it. First, we have an updated version to the old Dunu Vulcan. Can you guess the name? Yep, that's right. Vulcan 2. Uninspiring sci-fi naming scheme aside, well, let's be fair, Dunu is not the only culprit of this, pretty much all of sci-fi. But that aside, the Dunu Vulcan 2 has an all-new look with a champagne goldish shell and two different versions, MMCX and 2-pin, which are kind of uncommon purchasing options. But hey, MMCX fans, it's time to rejoice. Driver configuration wise, the Dunu Vulcan 2 is rocking a hybrid 2DD plus 6 BA. That's a whopping 2 more BA than the previous version. And according to Dunu's marketing, the drivers are arranged in a 4-way setup. 1 DD for the sub bass, 1 for the bass, 2 BAs for the mids, and 4 BAs for the highs. As of right now, we don't have any graph for this IEM just yet, but it is already available for purchase at $359.99. Moving on, we have two new announcements from the Linsol camp. The first one being the Ziigaat Luna, and the second one is the DA Audio Monarch Mark IV. Yes, finally we're getting an update to the Monarch series. The Ziigaat Luna is a 6 BA IEM arranged in a 3-way setup, 2 BA for the bass, 2 for the mids, and 2 for the highs. And though we don't have a graph for this IEM just yet, we do have a description of the sound. Tuned to Ziigaat's in-house target. I didn't know they had an in-house target. The Luna offers an 8 dB sub-bass shelf that cuts off at 250 Hz. The mid-range remains flat between 250 Hz and 1K Hz. Natural, crisp trebles add just enough details to keep the highs clear. Seems to me like a potential neutral with a bass boost kind of signature owing to its 8 dB bass shelf, which is kind of a similar signature to what the Monarch Mark IV is going for. But unlike the other Monarch series of IEMs, the Monarch Mark IV has two different tuning options. The Monarch Mark IV shares the same driver configuration as the previous Monarch models, being a tribrid 2DD, 6BA, and 2 EST. But unlike the other models, like I mentioned before, the Monarch Mark IV has an additional tuning option called the Rumble mode, which adds 3 dB in the low mids and the bass. Another upgrade over the previous models would be in its build quality. The Mark IV seems to have a metal shell and resin faceplate combo that we see in the Sensmanger T Pro, which is to say, a much needed and welcomed upgrade. Both the Luna and the Monarch Mark IV are not yet released, and we don't have a price for them yet, but they are available for reservations. Next one, we have an IEM from the maker of the beloved Mega 5 EST. Of course, we're talking about Hisenior and their new Cano Cristales, or Cristales?
Cristales.
Coming in at $399 USD, this IEM has a hybrid 2DD plus 8 BA setup in a 3-way crossover. 2DD for the bass, 4 BAs for the mids, and 4 for the highs. And yes, we do have a graph for this, and as you can see, it looks kind of like a Harman V-shape style tuning with extra heft in the bass. So might be an exciting option for you Harman lovers out there, but we'll have to see. Though if you're super duper curious and you can't wait, it is already available for purchase. And last but not least, we have a brand new brand that's entering the market with their first ever release, and that brand is, of course, Punch Audio with their new Martillo. Now, like I just said, Punch Audio is a new player in the IEM market, and they seem to be aiming at the bass head crowd, marketing themselves as the brand for bass lovers. And true to its marketing, their first IEM does indeed have a lot of bass. Just look at that. Boom boom power. The Martillo comes in at $329 with a tribrid setup of 2 DD for the bass, 2 BAs for the mids, and 1 planar for the treble. And it is available right now for pre-orders. And speaking of boom boom power, if you want to try new IEMs out right now, why don't you boom yourself over to The Hangout. We're located at 200 South Ridge Road, level 1 in Chinatown. Come on down and ask to try any of our hundreds of IEMs we have available for demo. But if you're not fortunate enough to be in Singapore, but you feel like you need an IEM right now, why don't you boom yourself over to hangout.audio, our online retail store. We ship globally and for free on orders over $30. And with all that said, remember friends, if it's not on the list, it doesn't exist. See you next week.